Hi everyone, today is August 6, 2017, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deckech.
And it's the beginning of a new month, and we have new PvP rewards and extra rewards this time. And Elegant Mai is in town, so we are trying to play her and try and get some for cards. And also the World Champs Duel Links and also the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG World Champs are happening this time next week, so it's a pretty exciting time. Deckech, what have you been up to?
Oh, like you said, I've been farming Elegant Mai with some moderate success. I kind of started out with one method, and more recently have been switched over to another one that I think I like a little bit better, so we're going to talk about those later. But in terms of PvP, I have not really been playing all that much. I should have been, and should still, because as you guys know from last month, I pretty much just got in at the 100. So that's how much I play is, kind of pushing that. It's right about where I would be, so I need to get on that again, but I haven't really been very motivated to get the new set, because it's like 200 packs, and that's huge, and some of the stuff that I want, including the Monarch, there's only one in each buy through, so I'm not really sure that I'm ready to buy like 500 packs worth of cards to get a playset of it. And I've been saving up my gems. I'm up to like 2,000, but nice. I kind of thought about it, and 500 packs is 25,000, so I got a ways to go if I'm shooting for that Monarch. I might just sit this pack out. I don't know.
Yeah, that might be a strategy that we heard when the guy, the social media guy, had the live stream. It seems like ages ago. He said he skipped Wonders of the Sky, so it might be a strategy you can employ.
Yeah, maybe. What about you? What are you up to?
So in terms of farming for some reason I wasn't motivated to do it the first few days. I couldn't find... I mean, I had a perfect level 30 deck at first, but the level 40 took about 2 days. And I was just... I don't know, I wasn't really motivated to do it, but then once I actually got a deck to do it, it's been going a little better, and I've been getting more of the... I got pretty much all of the SR rewards, at least one copy so far. And also got the UR this morning. PvP, I've decided to switch off Necrofear this month, and I've switched over to a Zombie Gemini deck, which is inspired by Shiny Sophion, who got 4th place in Deckech's tournament. I've got about between 10 and 15 PvP wins. I'm somewhere in there because I got the second N ticket. And I'm missing a million cards from the perfect version. One Gozuki is the biggest one, but I could use another Ill Blood. I could use another Super Rush Headlong. But yeah, the deck has like a Vampire Lord in it right now, so it's kind of like all over the place. Pump Princess, Skelesaurus, stuff like that. It's not optimal, but Supervise is a really good card. It makes the deck work pretty well, and I'm trying to buy some Crimson Kingdom to get the second Gozuki at least, but it's gonna be tough because I just reset the box. So yeah. I mean, in terms of Electric Overload, I saw a video by Deckech where he talked about the XYZ Dragon Cannon, and I mean, I bought some packs before, but then I bought some more, so I kind of got trapped into that set. But the XZ Cannon is actually a really strong card. So I might have got trapped, but we'll see. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the news section now. We have a milestone on our Twitter account. We broke 100 Twitter followers on our show's Twitter account.
That's right. And that's even... Sorry.
Go ahead.
We're too excited. We're talking all over each other. That's even counting not us. So, like, initially, we were, like, our first followers. So, we are our personal accounts. And that's even not counting our own accounts. We're over 100.
And do you know what's funny? Our followers mostly are not porn bots, from what I could tell. They're real people,
That
right?
is that. That is funny. Yeah.
Because our individual ones seem to have it, like every so often some fake person retweets our stuff. I get that sometimes. I don't know about you, but so we want to thank everyone for listening, following, and interacting with us on Twitter. If you listen to this podcast and also want to interact with us on Twitter, we're at duel_assessment. Deckech usually gets on the news pretty fast. He gives deck advice as well. I sometimes do. We complain. We post memes. I have a ton of GIFs on my computer that I use sometimes. So you go there for a chuckle, or any questions you have, you could check us out on Twitter.
It still gets me that you call them GIFs.
It's not GIFs. It's GIFs.
I'm a GIF person.
Really, it's graphical though.
Yeah, but whatever. That sounds weird, and the guy who created it said it was GIFs.
Yeah,
so.
I've heard of that argument. Oh well. All right. Well, we won't come to a resolution on that just yet. No tournament this week. The 2017 World Championships, as we mentioned, is happening next week, and there's also a special Reddit tournament next week. So we're going to talk about the 2017 World Champs. As you know, this is happening in Japan with the card game tournament. So there's a card game division, there's a card game division for kids, and then there's the Duel Links, first ever Duel Links official championship. It's happening probably based on Japanese local time, so we might have some tournament results to share by this time next week. This event's to be live streamed, but there's not a lot of information where it will be. It could be on Twitch, but a lot of Japanese games have like their own website, so I don't really know where it would be streamed. It could be on Konami's channel. It could be streamed all day. We don't know. And I don't know how it's going to work, because I don't know if you ever watched a card game being live streamed, like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But I assume this would be kind of like Hearthstone, I guess. They have the players on one side, and then they have the screen. I'm assuming that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't know either, and I have not really watched really many card game streams or anything like that. I've seen a few classic Magic games, Magic tournaments have YouTube videos and stuff, and it's interesting because the video game is obviously intended to be kind of observed, whereas the card game isn't necessarily constructed with that in mind. So they have to put the camera, I don't know, have a holder to place it above the board or something like that. Anyway, we'll see how they do it. I'm sure that the content feels kind of like the Hearthstone one, where they have someone talking about the plays that are coming up and what the outs are and why a certain play might not have been the best line, or why they would have taken a certain play or something like that.
Yeah. There still don't appear to be any of the competitors from South America, so we don't really know if they lost contact with them or they couldn't go for some reason. We don't know.
Or maybe the website just wasn't updated.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, maybe I could just watch DK's stream and see what he says, because he talked a lot about it, how he's going 2 days early or something. They're doing some PR maybe ahead of time. That makes sense. To have them cushy before, not just you gotta go play card games after you get off the plane. So I guess.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you want to, as a player, even if that weren't the case, I would have shown up a couple days early too, because you want to get used to the time and everything. You don't want to be jet lagged while you're trying to play the biggest game of your life.
Yeah. All right. Even if you don't plan to watch or care, make sure you log in every day until the event, because they're giving up 1,500 gems over 10 days, and it's an increasing amount. So at first it was 100, now it's 200. There's a lot of gems though.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it'll help us get back to the sets that we want to get like Crimson Kingdom or the other
Or
one.
500 packs of Electric Overload.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I forgot what card I got from that set. I got a SR or UR, but it wasn't. I just forgot what it was. That's how exciting this card was. I just don't even know what it is.
Bummer.
Yep. And then the special Reddit tournament is happening next week as well. And it's the first time it's a special rules tournament. Every deck must include at least one copy of Fusion or Ritual Weapon and have at least one valid target for the card. So that means they have to have something from the extra deck. Well, if it's a Fusion, they need something from the extra deck, but if they have Ritual, that will work too.
Right, and you need, like, the Ritual Spell or the Fusion Polymerization or Fusion
card,
Gate or something.
Yeah, it's the equip card, and then you need the Fusion cards, and then the monsters. Or Fusion materials, if you're running Fusion. So, very limited deck building space, because you're constrained to putting in X cards into your deck, I guess. It's going to be a best of 3 format with a break to top 4 or 8. A double elimination as well. Best of 3, 5 card sideboards are allowed. Because of the more casual rules, there's be no prize money this time. So, I don't know if the more impressive players are going to show up just because there's no prize money, but maybe they will.
Yeah, I think also this is like in the time, it's right before the World Champs, and it might be during it even because of the time zone difference. I'm not sure. So I imagine that a lot of the hardcore players won't be maybe focusing on this type of stuff because they want to focus on the coverage of that event, or might even be there as to some of those players who might have otherwise joined a Reddit tournament or some other third-party tournament. Instead, they're going to this event. So I think maybe that's why they chose to do their special rules tournament this time, because they're like, well, this one's a little more casual.
And we in Hearthstone, we kind of competed in a special rules tournament once, and it's kind of fun in the deck building aspect because you have to dig into your toolbox and see what cards you have, and probably use some skill sets you're less familiar with or have phased out since you play the game with your best cards, and now you're forced to use some other cards.
Yeah, it's tons of fun. This one, I love the idea of it because, like you said, we did one for Hearthstone, and I had a blast. It was one of the most fun things I've done playing Hearthstone. And so I've always loved these types of tournaments with restrictions and kind of weird rules where you have to come in and figure out a way to break it. This one, though, unfortunately, I don't think is as exciting because I think there's like one really clear option that I think almost everyone's going to do, and that's going to be playing Relinquished deck with just one Ritual Weapon in it. Relinquished has obviously lost a lot of power recently, but it's still a very solid card, and in a meta in which everyone has to run at least 4 cards that, like you said, that aren't going to be what they wanted to run, then there's probably going to be a lot less like Mako decks and Naturia and Red Eyes, because those decks are all very tight. And so you're back to the format that existed when Relinquished was super good, except maybe without even Harpies, because Harpies Hunting Ground got nerfed. So essentially, minus the fact that we have a nerfed switcheroo and we have to play one card we don't want to play, we could pretty easily play Relinquished with either Restart or nerfed switcheroo or maybe some other method of kind of making your draws right. But where every other deck has to run 4 cards they don't want to run or more, you only have to run 1. And even then you can, since you're expecting a lot of mirror matches, it might be smart to run Eliminating the League or Divine Wrath or Ultimate Providence, so you have a way to use the Ritual Weapon even if you don't want to use it for like equipping anyway. So I'm excited to see this type of event. and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that 9 out of 10 people who go to this one are just going to bring a relinquish deck, and it's going to be all relinquish mirror matches all day. And unfortunately, that's probably not going to be very fun for the participants, and I hope that it doesn't leave like a bad taste in everyone's mouth and they never do a special rules tournament again.
Doesn't the card Retort work? I forgot what Retort does, but it's like same name card, and you get to summon yours, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. We talked about it last week in the Red Eyes deck, especially the counter Red Eyes with balance. But yeah, that might be a good card in this as well, since we know that so many people are going to be running, well, you don't know, but you'd expect that a lot of people are going to be running Relinquish. What the card does is it counters a card, a magic or trap, that it has the same name as one in your graveyard, and then you can add a copy. I forget if it's from the one from your graveyard or if it's one from your deck, but you can then add a copy to your hand. So, like you said, if you know that everyone's going to be running 3 Relinquished, and you get your Black Illusion Ritual out first, then you just have this huge advantage because you get to counter theirs and get another one. So that could be pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what if this prediction actually happens. Probably some. I'd say at least most of them would be relinquished, but I don't know if it's going to be like 90%, but we'll see.
Yeah. There's a couple other options, but I think relinquished is both the easiest and most obvious and perhaps the most powerful, and that combination means that it's, a lot of people are probably going to bring it.
Yep. Alright, there was the ladder reset since July ended, and there's upgraded prizes for August, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you claim your prizes. So you just go to the Duel screen, and then there's a where the PvP arena is. There's like a ranked ticket exchange, I believe it's called. So do that. What did you get with your cards?
I got 2 rare Metamorphs, and that was because Bandit Keith is just annoying to farm, and the card's solid. And I figured other cards like Enemy Controller, I can farm Kaiba pretty easily now, so I can pick those up eventually. And I just, I thought that Rare Metamorph was the best card that would be hard for me to get otherwise because of Keith's annoyingness to farm.
For some reason, I have some decks in my deck editor called Keith, or Bandit Keith. So I guess I farmed him in the past. And I do have 2 rare Metamorphs, so I don't know if I struggled through it or if I have a way to do it.
I'm pretty sure that some people have posted ways, and I think they probably work okay, but I can farm Kaiba with, 90% success now with Labyrinth Builder, probably somewhere around that, so, it feels like it's just going to be a matter of time before I get that last Enemy Controller. I only need 1 more, but I farmed him like maybe a dozen times yesterday.
Yeah.
With this idea in mind, like, I'll just go get my Enemy Controller because I'm stupid like that.
It's not that easy.
No, it's not that easy. I got 2 Blue Eyes, which of course I don't need. I have like 7 of those already, and that's it. Everything else was just rares, and I'm like,
Yeah, I told you I farmed them for a straight hour and I got 1 Battle Ox. It's just not even my 3rd Champion's Vigilant. Like I would have wanted that at least. Yeah, I got my 3rd Enemy Controller, so I could play some of the decks I wanted. Like the Zombie Gemini deck runs 3, so that's one of the reasons why I turned to that deck. I also got a regular Metamorph, so now I have 2 regular Metamorphs. It's a card you see sometimes. I don't really know exactly when the time is to use that card over another card, but if I see a deck list, I'll just copy it. So I have 2 regular Metamorphs now. So I pretty much have 2 of everything. Like 2 rare Metamorphs, 2 Champions Vigilance. I'm kind of taking the middle road, I guess.
Yeah.
But this time, you could get 3 SR tickets, which is pretty cool. At 30, 60, and 100. And you could also exchange your tickets as soon as you earn them. So I'm sure people have gotten the Gravity Blaster by now that is coveted. So yeah, do you think it's a good idea to exchange your cards early, or is it better to wait for the meta or someone to figure out a deck for a card?
I think that we're looking at cards that, for the most part, have been around for a long time, and so like we know their relative values and stuff. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. You can also use like your 31 and then save your 60 and 100, since you'll probably get those ones much later. But the added bonus, of course, is that you get 1 month of playing with this card. So if I don't find my enemy controller by the time I get to 30, I'm probably going to just pick it up there and call it done. And be like, you know what? F off, Kaiba. But so I think that there's, that opportunity cost that you are giving up if you save it for the end of the month. But like you said, there's a chance that maybe some stuff switches around by then. So I think if you don't need anything for any decks that you want to play like during the month, then you might as well save them. But if you are still short 1 or 2 cards that you need for this deck that you'd like to play, then I say you should probably just go for it and exchange the ticket as soon as you get it.
People who sunk into the new box are probably going to get Gravity Blaster. Because there's all these, like, Gen X. I think there's like a machine archetype called Gen X. And then there's the XYZ. So there's all this machine stuff going on. I don't know if that's the card. I've just heard a lot of hype for it, but I don't really know if it's amazing. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not actually even sure what it does.
It was a card from the data mine back then that I thought Keith was going to give you. But I have a history of playing Victory Viper.
Yes,
So Alright, so let me just talk about the card. Equip card, equipped to a machine. Once per turn, you can activate this effect. It permanently gains 400 attack. If it battles an opponent's monster, that monster's effect is negated during the battle phase only.
Alright. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Permanently is an interesting term. I think, is there like quotations for this card? I kind of remember that say like even if the gravity blaster is gone.
This attack gain remains even if this card leaves the field. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. It negates the downside, or at least some of the downside of playing an equip card. So it's kind of cool.
It's okay, yeah.
And like you said, the canceling, negating effects is also a pretty decent effect depending on the meta.
Right, yeah. I remember Element Source being a really big deal in dinosaur decks just because they could do that, I guess.
Yeah.
One other small thing, after the reset, players are starting exactly 1 tier lower than they ended. So you got dropped to Gold 3, right?
Right.
The weird thing... Oh yeah, if you lose down to the first level of that tier, you can pick up gems for ranking up again. So you get like 10 or 20 or 15, I forget what it is, gems per rank. The weird thing about this month that I'm finding is that I'm matching up with people from the higher parts of Gold. Even though I'm Gold 1, I face Gold 5 people all the time. I don't think it was like that last month, right?
It didn't happen to me very much at all.
Yeah, I'm facing people all over. That's currently happening. Yeah. Alright, so get your PvP games in and get your sweet rewards now or later. The bonus duels rewards campaign is ending tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's why you've been farming. That makes sense. It's a good time to get some farming in while you can. Way back in episode 8, we talked about farming the legendary duelists, but things have changed because we do have a lot more cards and more characters now. When the Paradox Brothers came into the game, they brought in a lot of new ways to farm and a lot of easier ways to farm. Most of the easy legendary duelists who are farmable with Cerberus can be farmed with Elements Unite. Other duelists like Kaiba can be farmable using Labyrinth Builder. We have a link of Game A for farming decks. Yeah, I tried to take advantage of this last week, but then I just completely forgot about the event, so I guess I should do some of this today.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of farming decks are designed to get to 8K anyway, so it's not like terribly important to do your farming now, but sometimes your farm will mess up and you'll only get like a 6, and then
Yeah.
this buffs it up to a 7, so you're like, okay, cool, I'm down with it.
Also a good time for skill farming, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the same reason. I've been, we'll talk about my next, but I've been farming her with Odeon because I'm still trying to get the stupid, whatever, bluff trap.
Is that his skill's name?
I think so.
Hold up. Let me try.
Okay.
Yeah, Bluff Trap is honestly a deck that I have no idea what the cards are in it.
It just,
Here we go. Yeah, it is a skill.
it's always seemed like a really fun deck to me, and I've wanted to play it many times over the course of my life playing this game. And so, still waiting.
Yeah, every time I watch a video of DK, he's like, "Oh, this is Bluff Trap," and I just have no idea what it is. All right. Yeah, he also has a skill called Trap Layer. I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, that sounds like something that it's the layer between the skills that I want and the skills that I'm getting is the trap layer. Ha!
Oh, he also has the Magic Planner. I don't know if you talked about that card before in the past.
I did.
Level 40.
It's coming. I'm at 39 with him. So
Oh, okay, yeah, you got this. All right. All right, let's talk about Elegant Mind now. She's been here, giving everyone problems. Could be one of the hardest. I wouldn't say the hardest, but one of the trickiest farms for the roaming duelists. A lot of people online suggest auto dueling her, which is kind of the thing you do when you give up completely. But yeah, learn from me. I can't play Red Eyes now because I couldn't farm Super Joey and I got none of those cards. So it's a good idea to make a go at it, at least to try to farm her. So let's talk about some of the rewards she gives. This one is one you get just for playing for 15 times, so you should get this one in no time. It's a Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier.
yeah, it's also a drop card, so you can get a couple copies instead of just the one. But it seems like a really solid card for the Ice Barrier archetype that's kind of come in the new set on day 1 or day 2. We saw a couple Ice Barrier decks, people saying they made King of Games with it already, stuff like that. And it seems like a pretty fun and fairly strong archetype. It is reminiscent of the Phoenix decks in that on day 1 everyone thought it was like the most powerful deck and was going to shape the meta, and now it's kind of fallen off a lot in terms of at least Reddit chatter. But it seems like it's a solid archetype and that this might be a good addition to it.
I'm gonna go off course for a little while. Does this have anything to do with like the name Ice Barrier? Is that just the name, or is it apply to the gameplay?
I haven't, since I haven't purchased the packs, I don't really know 100%, but I don't think I recall seeing anything that has to do with ice barriers in the like gameplay videos and stuff that I've seen on it.
Yeah, because this just triggered a thought that I didn't realize how flavorful archetypes are. Like the ninjas, I played against the ninja on PvP, and they just focus on destroying trap cards, and that's what ninjas do, right?
Yeah, I mean that's true. It is kind of sneaky. Also, they like slip in with special summons and with like transforming themselves into the higher level versions and stuff.
Yeah. And then the XYZ Dragon, you like discard a card to destroy. It's like they're shooting stuff. So, very flavorful archetypes coming.
Okay, and if we want to go like
yeah.
full dive deep into the flavorful archetypes that are slightly off topic, Ice Barrier and Divinity Bird and all of this stuff, I have exactly no evidence to support this theory, but it seems very it's very reminiscent of a random Chinese drama that my wife and I watched on Netflix recently, called Ice Fantasy. And I swear, like, I was seeing these cards and the other ice barrier cards, and I was just like, what is going on right now? Was Konami watching this too?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, probably not, but these cards were probably designed way before that show came out. Do you have any idea if these cards were recent to the physical TCG versus, like, if they've been around for a while?
Let me investigate.
It's not very...
Venu came out in 2017, May 2017, so this card just came out.
Oh. So they probably develop, I don't know, they probably design a year and a half ahead of time and then develop up until maybe a couple months after or before it gets released. So they might have watched some Ice Fantasy.
The Dance Princess, though, came out in November 2010, so this card's a little older.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then, so that must mean that the Ice Barrier cards were before Ice Fantasy, and the Venu is probably totally unrelated.
It's another card that came out after the show, after Duel Links. Like Gozuki came out recently, I guess, as a card.
Yeah.
But yeah, Venu, Bright Bird of Divinity, as we discussed. It's an interesting card, right? It's a ritual card?
Yes, yeah. It's a ritual monster. We talked about, I think, last week, ritual monsters are always a little bit risky in that they take a big investment, 2 or 3 cards, and they fill up a lot of your deck. So you have to really be all in to play the ritual. And for that reason, only the very most powerful ritual cards really see much play or have seen any play over the course of this game. So we're not sure this one's going to see play. It has at least one of its abilities is pretty interesting for bringing cards back. So maybe. Someone also pointed out that, I'm going to go on to the next one, that Primal Cry, which is the spell that you use to summon it, has a cool secondary effect. Aside from just allowing you to ritual summon the Venu, if Primal Cry is in your graveyard, then you can remove Primal Cry from the game to resummon a ritual monster that has died. And I'm assuming that the normal rules apply, that the ritual monster has to have been ritual summoned first, not just discarded. But still, that's a really cool secondary effect. And it negates some of the downside, or at least mitigates the risk of playing a ritual monster and putting all these eggs in one basket, and then if it dies to just, whatever effect or removal or something, you can get it back more easily and kind of for free. I even saw people theory crafting putting it in non-Venu ritual decks like Relinquished and discarding it by some other means so that you can later use it as a free resummon to your Relinquished if it was destroyed by any effect.
Wow, look out for this card for the tournament.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't think Venu is going to see much play, at least immediately after Elegant Mai, because when you play a ritual monster, you want to have at least 2 copies of that monster in your deck since you have to build so much around it. And I can't imagine a ton of people are going to end up with play sets of it. So it was already kind of iffy in terms of power level, and then I think there's going to be a pretty limited pool of people who even have the ability to play it. So I don't think it's going to make a huge impact in the game, but it's kind of cool. It's a cool card.
Another cool card is Swift Birdman Joe. 1 tribute 2300 attack monster. If you tribute summon this card by tributing a wind monster, return all spell and trap cards to the field from the field to the owner's hand. We see this a lot with the farming. We try to counter this card. But how good is this card in regular PvP?
Well, I think right now it's not going to be great because there's so many... PvP is kind of dominated by Red Eyes, and that has 2400 attack, and the bouncing effect doesn't matter very much to Red Eyes, so because they can just activate their traps in response. So I don't think that this card will be terribly relevant immediately, but I do think there's some really cool interactions with it, like Big Bang Shot, I think.
Right, yeah.
So you can like reuse it for multiple removal options, and there's a few decent wind types now, but now that we've nerfed Harpies, it's a little bit tighter in terms of what's actually playable. So the long and short of it is, no, I don't think it's going to make a huge impact now on the meta, but it is an interesting and powerful effect that I think will maybe come at some point, kind of pop up like, remember this card? And it'll be a decent card.
I could see this being good against cards that collect counters, like the Endymion ones.
Yeah,
like,
or
they'll have to reset all the counters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's also good against Wonder Balloons and what's it called? The Cartoon Kingdom?
Or, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Toon Kingdom. Because those ones tend to be, the decks that rely heavily on those tend to protect them with magic reflectors, and so they can't be destroyed as easily. But this will bounce them, which is different. So, maybe.
Yep. And also she's giving out the Harpy 2 and 3. These things actually have names. I didn't know that, but they actually have names. And then some of the Amazoness cards. You've got a full set of Harpies, right?
Yeah, I do. What do you mean they have names? Like Harpy number 2 and Harpy number 3, or like...
They all have proper names.
Like Liliana?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just pointing it out there.
I didn't know that. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I was just looking up cards on the wiki, and then you go to trivia, and it's like, oh, this card's name is this, so...
Probably not Liliana.
I just know them from their hair. Like, the red one is the regular one, and then there's the orange one, and then there's the blue punk one, so... That's just how I know them from their hair.
Okay.
Yep. Alright, let's talk about farming. Level 30 is pretty easy. You're using Labyrinth Builder?
So I had been using Labyrinth Builder, and then that's what I was talking about. I switched. So with the Labyrinth Builder method, you obviously have the Lab Builder, and it works pretty well, except that she has one card that can flip your Labyrinth into attack mode. And I forget what the name of that card is, but it's one of her monsters. And it says at the end of my turn, it flips it one of my guys face-up position.
Oh, yeah, the Garuda.
Yeah, there you go. So that card really ruins it for you. You run 3 Ultimate Providence and a good number of monsters that you can discard for it, like Crystal Seer and Skell Angel. So you try to counter it there, but like every once in a while she'll do this stupid thing where she, like Birdman or whatever he's called.
Joe.
Yeah, Birdman Joe's you, and then plays Garuda, and you're just like, okay, cool. So we can't do anything because he bounced my trap and then flipped my thing. So that was kind of annoying. Do you want to talk about, what did you do for 30?
Yeah, so it's just the ramping up Blue Eyes version. So you run three Kaiba-Man, 3 Kinmodo, 3 Blue Dragon Summoners. You have 3 Blue Eyes. You got a Fusion Gate, so you could get a Ultimate Dragon. I think I do the Circuit combo. No, you don't need Circuit. You're fusioning, so you just get Piranha Army, and you Gift of the Martyr, and you go in for 10,000. So just a lot of things to get Blue Eyes out, and you use Restart, so it increases your chance of getting it out right away.
Nice.
And keep destroying her monsters, so you get a destruction bonus, and you prevent Birdman Joe from coming, even though it's not going to play a role. You just prevent him from coming out. I think it runs a lot of draw, so good Goblin Housekeeping, Shard of Greed, stuff like that.
Yeah, that actually sounds fairly similar to what I ended up switching to. for 30 and for 40. It is also based around getting the Blue Eyes out and Blue Dragon Summoner, and you use, my version has Wonder Wands in there because you get Wonder Wand plus Blue Dragon Summoner is pretty nutty. You get the Blue Eyes out and you draw 2 cards. And then I think my version's slightly less devoted to getting out Blue Eyes, and it has 3 Champions Vigilance to protect because it's meant to be used against level 30 and level 40 Mai. We'll get to level 40 in a sec, but it works pretty well. Probably would work better if I were running Restart as well. Like I said before, I was doing it with Odeon just because I wanted his Bluff Trap. So right now I just have a meaningless skill on it, but I think that might be the easiest and best route for farming her. I mean, it was obviously working pretty well for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I did it on 30, not 40. I haven't tried this version yet. I would have to tech in all the counter traps. Stuff like that.
So what were you running for 40?
Yeah, this deck is, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's okay. that's a ringing endorsement. But yeah. It's Unhappy Girl. So you got Unhappy Girls, Raimei. So you run 3 Ultimate Providence, 2 Javelins, Trap Jammer, and then there's the card Rebound, which is from the new set. And you only need 1 Rebound, but what its effect is, it's a counter trap. If your opponent uses an effect, like any effect, monster, spell, or trap that returns a card to your hand, you negate the activation and you also destroy any card they have. So any card on the field and also any card in their hand. So you get to destroy something. Obviously that's pretty useful in this deck because she has the wind trap that returns a monster. She has Birdman Joe. She has Harpy Harpist. So 3 different things you have to look out for. So this counters it. And then you finish off with Circuit, Ultimate Dragon, and Piranha Army. So, I mean, it all depends if you have Unhappy Girl, first of all, and then you need your trap cards. And you also have to try to bait out Harpy's Hunting Ground and have her destroy Harpy's Hunting Ground herself. That's a really important thing. Yeah, this deck is really draw dependent.
Yeah, so I had been running a similar thing, also Unhappy Girl, a little bit different on the specifics, but essentially the same plan where you lock down her guys, you have a couple counter traps to protect your whole setup, and then I was doing, I think, double summon so that I could play the Master of Oz and also the Vassal and attack end. But I found that the deck is super reliant on getting your Unhappy Girls early, and if you don't get them on the first turn or 2, then I would just lose. And then every once in a while I would get it and she would still like bounce it back, and so you need to get 2 before she gets her bounce. And all in all, I think I like the modified Red Eyes for both versions. Yeah, better. So
it's more fun deck to play, right? I think.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, everyone likes playing giant Red Eyes things. So
Blue Eyes, Blue Eyes,
Blue Eyes, Blue Eyes. Man, too much Red Eyes on the brain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so don't give up. These cards could be good. That's the lesson of the story, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no point in not trying to get them unless the point in not trying to get them is that you're just so fed up with this game that it makes it not fun, which seems like something that some people were kind of saying, so that they were just tired of farming stuff. And I think you should, have fun in the games you're devoting time and maybe money into, but you don't want to be shooting yourself in the foot and regretting it later because you don't have these cards because you didn't try to farm them. So I think got to give it a go, guys.
You're using those cowboy puns, right? Don't shoot from the hip when you're farming.
The inside jokes.
Yeah. All right. We also have a link for the person we mentioned who has a really good farming deck and strategy from Reddit, they say it's a really high success rate. You can use it for 30 and 40. So this is the Blue Eyes one, right? I'm pretty sure it is.
Correct. Yeah, this is the Blue Eyes. I modified it a little bit. His version was the first that I had seen doing it, but I didn't realize that you were also doing essentially the same thing for 30. His version runs just the Kid Motos, not the Kaibamans. And so I modified it a little bit, so my version runs a couple Kaibamans as well. But I think it's a good starting point, and we will post our deck lists as well.
Yep. We have a new section called Mail Time. We got mail from VegasCanuck, our buddy on Twitter who listens to this show. He's been tracking his collection so he could better streamline his what packs to buy or what things to farm. And he has a spreadsheet he wants to share with everyone. So we can make it downloadable in the show notes for anyone who wants to use it. I think some of the pro players kind of do this, right, on their own, probably.
Yeah, maybe. I think probably if you're a pro, then you're getting a lot of donations to build your collection, and you need to have a full collection to compete. And so I'm assuming that all the pros probably they just buy an entire box like 3 times through and it comes out or something like that. But maybe that's not quite true yet of this game. I know that Decade was talking about how he was upset that one of the best cards in the Red Eyes deck, which is Red Eyes Insight, was hidden behind an RNG wall. And perhaps he was upset because he only got 2 or something like that. I didn't catch that part, but he might have just been upset on principle that this card that's shaping the meta is not available to everybody. And he had mentioned that because of that, he was not buying any more packs or something of one of the sets. So maybe he doesn't have a full collection. Maybe he does do something like this as well.
Yeah. And we talked about this before, but it kind of simulates... Well, you said you bought cards individually, but it kind of simulates... like if I just bought booster packs, I don't know if I'm ever going to get this card in the TCG, for example. But you said you bought cards individually, right?
Yeah, I guess by the time that I started playing, my local store was one of actually the best in the country, and so I couldn't really dip my toe in. I was forced to go all the way in if I wanted to play, and so everyone had full decks. I had to start out by dropping a couple hundred to get a complete deck to actually even compete and learn how to play. And then I stopped playing because shortly after I went through all of that, they nerfed half of my deck, and I was like, cool. Or not nerfed, banned or restricted it. Sweet.
You don't like it when that happens.
No.
I'm sure all the Tampere people are angry. They're burning up. We're going to wrap up the show today. Shout out to VegasCanuck for all his interactions with us and also sharing out the spreadsheet in our first email. Shout out to Dustin Wen, who commented on one of our posts on our website suggesting we have our podcast on Google Play Music, and it's there now. So if you use Google Play Music a lot, you can just get it right off your phone. Get this podcast right off your phone. It's just the dual assessment.
Yep. You also mentioned there was some issue with only 10 of our episodes showing up before.
Right. For a while, the syndication on WordPress was set to the last 10. So if you went on... I'm not sure how it works if you get the feed from the podcast, but if you go on the website like Stitcher.com and you go try to listen to the dual assessment, you can only listen to the last 10. But now we extended it to 100, so the last 100 episodes will be all there. So
once we get to them.
Well, once we get to 100. There's a programming thing I have to bring up for next week. I'm going to be really busy in that I will be moving. I'll be moving to New York. And I won't be here. I'll miss my first episode. So, Deckech, what are you planning to do?
Well,
Put you
put me on the spot, yeah. The answer is I don't know. We're going to try to figure it out. Maybe you can teach me how to record something and make it go up, and I'll try to do a solo episode like you did. You did them very well while I was gone, so maybe I can try to make something like that happen. If not, we will at least be writing something up to kind of give you guys something on the website. And, you know, I'm not the most technologically adept person, so we're going to try. Maybe you can teach me.
Yep, I'll see. All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and other places. Check out our podcast and more at our website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. You can listen to this on YouTube if you want to. We have the link. Help us grow, patreon.com/duel_assessment. Send us emails at theduelassessment@gmail.com. And as we mentioned, we love Twitter. You can tweet at us at duel_assessment, me at Green Ranger HS, and Deckech at HS Deckech.
That's right. Hope to see you guys there.
All right, see you guys. I guess we're ready to go, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Let's see if this thing's recording first. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, today is August 6th, 2017, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deckech.
And it's another week before the World Championships in Japan. Elegant Mai is the main event that we're having this week. Of course, it's the start of a new season, so time to start going for those 100 PvP wins, and there are more rewards than ever this time. So yeah, let me know. Alright. Oh yeah, have you been streaming or no?
No new streaming this week.
Okay. Alright, let's do this over. 3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, today is August 6th, 2017, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deckech.
And it's August 6th, it's the start of a new season. Next week is the World Championship qualifiers.
Oh, sounds like we're going to need an outtake reel, but with censors.
Yeah. I normally don't curse in the podcast at all, but I just can't. Alright, blah. Alright, this time I got it. 3, 2, 1.